Good morning everyone, lovely to have you with me. It's Carol here at Oak House Journals and I've got my pieces ready to do assignment number 43 of Margarete Miller's challenge of 2024. It's a collage challenge, and as I always say, if you want more information, there's a link in the description box below this video. So going through the prompts very quickly for this week, a person or an animal in motion. Well, no contest there for me. I've gone for an animal, and particularly this lovely little Jack Russel terrier, full of life, really vibrant, looks so happy. And as you can see, he's leaping over a log. He's obviously in full charge or full tilt. So I thought he would be beautiful to have on my piece and energize it today, and I've got my scissors out ready to fussy cut him. The second item or second prompt is something with a lid or a cover. Well, I've gone for this old rusted dustbin. As you can see, it's got a lid here. I think in America you call them trash cans, but it's an old metal, aluminium or galvanized dustbin for waste. Here in the UK you very rarely see these days. We have plastic wheelie bins. So I just saw this image and thought it would be a lovely one to use. And again, just a quick mention, picking up the coppery tones on my little Jack Russell Terrier's head there. The third prompt is an image from a magazine. Well, you will have seen me use this image in the past. It was a magazine image, and all I've done is I've printed it out on some lightweight cardstock so that it's a bit more robust for me to glue onto my page. And again, more of the coppery tones. The fourth prompt is anything associated with water, and again, another image you will have seen me use is this one. This is a painting that I've done a photocopy of, and why have I chosen it for this particular prompt? Well, for the rain puddles that are down the lane, but again, more of the coppery tones coming into play. The penultimate prompt is an old telephone number. Well, I'm going to use Whitehall 1212, and it's one of the most famous or iconic phone numbers to request an operator to be connected to in the past. Technically, it's still an operative telephone number, but as there's no operators anymore here in the UK, and also because the telephone number format has changed, Whitehall has a dialing code prefix. So technically you can't pick up the phone and ask the operator to connect you to Whitehall 1212. So in my mind, it is an old phone number, albeit not redundant. And in case you don't know what Whitehall 1212 would have connected you to in the past, you would have been connected to the non-emergency number for the police, i.e. Scotland Yard here in the UK. So that's the number I'm going to use. I'm not sure how I'm going to get it on my piece. I'm probably going to use my washi stickers and or Ranger rub-ons, so you might see one or both of those come into play at some stage later on in my collage. But I'm going to put my collage in place first and then add the phone number to it. And finally, the bonus is colourful washi tape. Well, again, I'm going to say that I'm restricted in what I've got left to play with here in the craft room. I've got really all this sort of thing left in my craft room to play with, and these I would say are not colourful, so I'm not going to use any of these. I've left these out for another project that I've got on the side that I'm playing with. But what I do have are some pieces here, sorry, dropping those. I have some of this. Now this is some lovely pale green washi tape with some text on it. There's some scraps there. Not particularly colourful, but it would work with my piece today, so I could perhaps use that. It's a bit more colourful than what I've got here, I would say, so I could use that. This is not technically washi tape, although it is on a long strip. These are washi postage stamps, and they are colourful, so I've got oranges and yellows and greens, and if I open it up a little bit more, purples and reds. So this, I would say, is more in keeping with colourful. I also have on this little peg down here, I have this, which is a strip of little tiny flowers. Not going to use those, don't don't feel that they will go in any way, shape or form with the colours that I've got going on here with these pieces. This is again not particularly colourful, it's more technical style washi tape with various shades of beige and some typewritten text on it. But what I did think I could use is this, and this is some beautiful cherry blossom washi. Now it's not very colourful, but it's very pretty and it gives me more of a splash of colour really than anything else I've got in the other washi tapes apart from my stamps. So I might be using one or both of these to hit the bonus prompt. I've already fussy cut out my trash can or waste bin, so I'm going to fussy cut my Jack Russel Terrier out here and I'll come back when that's done. So here's my little Jack Russel Terrier all cut out. I'm going to pop him there. I think I'm going to trim the white edges off here and possibly off this one. Not sure about that one as yet, but certainly off here. So let me do that. And pop this on here, just slightly in from the right hand side. Thought I'd have my little dog running towards me from down the lane. I like how he's sitting between those puddles. Have him with the trash can slightly off my image so that I can pick up the lid and have it looking like the dog is going to be jumping over the trash can, which gives him a reason for jumping. Liking how that looks. Got to get in this image. So I'm wondering how he would look on here. He stands out a lot better on the magazine image than he does on here. This is slightly softer with it being a photocopy of a painting. Maybe if I put that there like that, bring this over here so that he's straddling the two, that would work and I can still get my puddles in. Let me just move it down slightly. I still get this lovely background in. Not liking that white edge down this left hand side or along the bottom here. So I'm certainly going to trim away those two white edges. Does look a little bit weird having those two images together. I've got a tree peeping through here, so I'm going to move it over that way. Leaves me with this telegraph pole, which isn't ideal. And I'm just trying to leave it so that I can get that puddle in down there. I'm not sure I'm liking that line hitting that, so I'm just going to move it out slightly like that. Okay, I'm wondering about taking away that tree there. The downside of doing that is that it brings into play the tree in this background, or the foliage that was showing on this background, which I didn't like. I think I'll have to leave it. It will also reduce the amount of play I've got here on my staggering, which I actually want to keep if I can. What I don't like, again, is this white edge on the left hand side on this image and at the top. I'm going to just move it all over to the left, bring in my guillotine and trim off those other two edges. Move this back over, slide it in behind. I'm liking how that's looking. I'm going to put a bit of glue behind my trash can because I like the placement of that and I don't want to move it. Bring in my picture again, and like that. Here's my little dog. I'm going to glue my little dog in place on here. And I'm going to glue this image onto this one here. Sorry everyone, I'm having a little bit of an issue with my computer today. It keeps on throwing me out of my recording software. So very quickly, I was thinking about using this cherry blossom washi tape down in this corner, which looks absolutely lovely and it does soften everything, but it just doesn't look quite right. So I've resorted to the other option I had, which was these washi stamps, and as you can see I've put two down here. I've doubled them up so that I can get a bit more colour depth by doing that, and I've got a pinky mauvey coloured one there which picks up these tones in the background here, and I've got the purples which pick up the darker areas. And to do that, all I've done is I've just raised that corner that I stuck down of the bin. So I was thinking maybe I could have it like that. Now I can move all of this, it's not set in stone by any means. Washi is easily movable, as you know. And similarly, I've used the orange and the yellow and doubled those stamps up. If I peel that back, you can see I've got 2 layers there. I've popped those stamps up here. I've chosen those colours because of the rusty colour here picking up the orange and this yellow picking up the sunlight at the bottom of the track, and I thought I could maybe use them down there to soften that transition. Not really liking how that is looking, so I'm going to peel that away. The other option that I have is I could straddle it that way, or even just straddle one stamp. So let's just see what one looks like, the orange up there. So I could straddle that one. Don't like the orange up there, if I'm honest. Would give me my rule of 3, my trash can, my path. This probably could be a 3rd, but it's a little bit close to that. So it would work as a rule of 3, but not liking it. So I'm going to peel that one off. I'm just going to turn it round to get an idea. That is a possibility because it's picking up the yellow in the background there. Not liking it with that orange there either, so it would be a case of that one just being on its own. So let me bring in my prompts and just cover it over like that. It would be something like that, but then I've got this issue with that there. When I've just got one stamp up there, this really becomes very prominent, and I'd almost need to cut that right down there to get rid of it. I'm actually wondering if this top corner would be better having my phone number up there. Sorry everyone, I'm not sure what's happening today. For some reason, my recording software on my Mac keeps on throwing me out of the recording, and then when I think I'm recording, my iPad is switching off, so I'm having a bit of a nightmare. Not sure where I'm at in terms of what I've shown you and what I haven't. What I decided to do was to double up these little washi stamps here so that I could have a bit more colour and definition, and I used these 2 and created one that I've tucked down here under the bin using this one. I've used this washi tape that I showed at the start of the video and put a strip down the side there because I just thought it needed something, and you're probably picking up here that I've got some of the cherry blossom washi, and what I tried to do with the little scrap that I was auditioning down here, I decided I'd have a go at trying to fussy cut it and just make use of a piece up here where that telephone mast was. And then I was trying to decide what to do with another one of those washi stamps, and this is one of the yellow ones, and I was thinking that I would have it there and maybe try and pick up the yellow so that I've got yellow there, and a yellowy green here. But it just felt like it was just there, not having any real function at all. And I desperately needed to do something up in this corner, and that's why obviously the cherry blossom washi is going off that corner up there. I decided against that, and I started trying to play around with my telephone number, which was Whitehall 1212 if you remember, and what I thought I could do was to print it on some paper like this and maybe make use of it down here in that corner. And I still could do that, but in the process of trying to find some paper that I could use that might pick up here, I've come across this label here, and what I thought I would do with this is to just tuck it behind in here and make use of the frame so that I've got a bit of a frame there, and it just adds a little bit of interest up in that corner. Let's give it a little press down. This number, which was across the top of this label, so it was like that. As you can see, I've backed it with a little bit of this washi tape just onto some plain cardstock. I could have that number up there like that, and maybe that little bit of washi going over the top. So I could have that and then do my Whitehall 1212 down there. So I'm going to find another one of these labels and I'm going to try printing out Whitehall 1212 on it, either with my rub-ons and my washi alphabet. Then I will get an idea of how well it sits down here and whether or not I need to use those numbers up there as well. So I'm going to go away and do that and I'll be back. I've managed to do my label with some of these print-on stickers. I'll put the details about these in the description box below the video in case you're interested, but you will have seen me play with these in the last video, and I managed to find a scrap of paper that matched this label that I've got going on in that corner. I would have liked to have found a nice soft green, but what I actually did or end up using was a brown because I didn't have a soft green in this actual set off to my left hand side. So I've done Whitehall 1212 there, and I was looking at it on here like that and I don't like it. It's not part of the collage. And what I thought I would do with it is to tuck it behind this image here so that the 2 is in that little intersection there. Something like that. I will move it over a little more and have it something like that so it's a bit more discreet. I like having this up here, so I'm going to leave it up here. I want to match up this piece of paper where the number is printed on with the actual label itself so that it's level along this edge and that the washi is just staggering so that I can get a little bit of the washi showing across the top of this image here. I hope you can see that. So some of the washi going along the top there and outside this. What I'm not sure about is whether to have that coming down there like that, which effectively just hides that figure 1, or whether to trim it so that I can get that one showing. And what I've decided to do is trim it. So here we go everybody, this is my finished piece for week 43 or assignment 43 in Margarete Miller's challenge for this year. Yeah, it felt a struggle right from the off with this one. Not quite sure why, but yeah, it did. But this is what I've ended up with, and am I happy with it? Not 100%, but I think it's more or less the best that I could have come up with given the pieces that I chose for this week. So let me go through the prompts with you and what pieces I chose. First one, a personal animal in motion. Well, I went for my little Jack Russel terrier down here, and as you can see, he does stand away from the page slightly where his head is and partially down his body, just to try and bring him well and truly to the forefront. Something with a lid or a cover. Well, this is my dustbin or trash can down here that he's supposed to be leaping over. An image from a magazine. Well, I went with this one. Chose it, as I said, because of the colours and because of the depth. Anything associated with water. Well, that was this image here, again of a lane. It was a painting, as I mentioned, and I chose it because of the puddles of water and because of the hints of rust on the path. An old telephone number. Well, I went with Whitehall 1212, as I mentioned at the start of the video, and bonus colourful washi tape. Now, this is where I was very restricted. I went with a piece of the cherry blossom up here to mask a telegraph pole that I had on this image. I went with some of this vintage style washi for the background piece here, and also for behind this number up here. And I went for these colourful washi stamps, and I have one, just one down here. Just to finish it off, I went with a paper label which had some numbers and a bit of a frame, which I used up in that top corner to try and balance it off with what I was going to do down here. once again, thank you so much for bearing with me and for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing me struggle away and fight to try and get a reasonable composition with this one. I do appreciate your company, as I'm always saying, I really do. Thanks for watching, take care, and as always I'll put some photographs at the end for you to have a look at, and the product information for those rub-on stickers again will be in the description box below the video. Until the next collage next week, assignment number 44, have a great week. Bye bye now.